So to get the two vertical heights, I have to know the position number of this one and the position number of these two straight height position. For that, I'm going to take two arrays. What are those arrays? Let's take first one. I will take leaves row, and another array that I'm going to take is leaves column, and in this array I'm going to store the data of this position number of leaves row index and leaves column index. Leaves row index and leaves row and leaves column. I will store the data of leaves row and leaves column. Okay, and for that I have to also store the data. So I'm going to take two indexing position also, leaves row and leaves column. Let's say indexing position I will keep it as so. Through that I can access or can store the data of leaves row and leaves both the starting position of the two vertical heights starting position. So how we will store the data in leaves row and leaves column array with the help of a leaves row index and leaves column index. Now let's go to the shell script and see how we can make this one. Okay, and how we can store the data of ending position of all the straight height. Let's see. Alright, now first thing that we have to do is to implement. Now the first thing that I have to do is to implement two array. Let's declare these arrays. Leaves row, and another one I will keep as leaves. So leaves row and leaves column. Then now I have to provide indexing of those two values, those two arrays, correct? So for that, what I will do, I will create another two variables, leaves row index and leaves column index. Okay, so we have initialized two array here, leaves row and leaves column, and also we have initialized their indexes, leave row index equal to 0 and leaves column index equal to 0. Now the next thing what we are going to do, we are going to store the endpoint of the straight height in these arrays. Okay, so how we are going to do that? To do that, what we will do, we will write a if condition in this for loop. So what will be the if condition? If condition will be if $j equal to iteration number so that means we have reached at the last position, and when we have reached the last position, then store that $start row and start column in our arrays with the help of indexing. And to store multiple values in our array, what we will do, we will increment the indexing, leaves row index ++ and leaves column index ++. Job done. We have written leaves row index ++ and leaves column index ++. Okay, so up to this much we have done. Now the next thing that we are going to see is how we are going to iterate the number of values, number of iterations we are going to do with the help of an according to the array that data we have stored. For that, what we are going to do, for that we are going to use for loop. First of all, we'll see in the two vertical heights. So what I am going to do here, I am going to mention for indexing $, list out all the details which you have stored in the array, and from top to bottom. So what will happen after iterating one value, when it will get finished, the second iteration is going to happen, and it will happen until and unless
it will complete until end of the whole array is iterated. So like that, all the values that is stored in the array is going to iterate. Okay, for example, let's say we have a two number of input which was provided. So for two input, we know that there will be one iteration is going to happen in which one height and one straight height and two vertical height it will be given. But in the second iteration, what it will happen, in the edge point of those two vertical height, again one more straight height will get created. So for that, what we are going to do, we are going to save that in an array. For that array, we have seen node row and node column, and for this saving the vertical row and vertical height, it was got created. In the third iteration is also going to happen, and through that we can understand that the number of count of the straight height will get increased, and also the count of the vertical height also will get increased, right? Okay, and we have to store the edge point of every of those 2 points, so that every time it will get iterated, we can start from which point the vertical height should get created and from which point straight height got created. And all those data we have to store in an array, and for that what we did, we have created a for loop. We have seen that, so that every time it will get finished and it will get created. Now same thing we will do in the two vertical heights. You can see that here for every one straight height, two vertical height is there, and if I have given 3 inputs, so at least there will be 8 vertical height will get created. And so those 8 vertical height start position I have to save inside this shell script. So let's do our final implementation here. So for the final implementation, what I am going to do, I am going to write here start row and start column, and here I am going to initialize a leaves row value, because leaves row I am going to initialize from the end of the point, which is going to start from the top. So for that I have written start row and start column here, so that every time it will get iterated, it will get stored it here from the array side, correct? And when the iteration of all those that start array job will be get completed, what we are going to do, we are going to destroy those array. Why we are going to destroy the leaves row and leaves column array? Because if we won't destroy, then what it will happen, the data will get stored, and that is going to affect in the next iteration, because it is going to print over and over to the same details. So once all the details got printed, we don't want it to again got, or our y-shaped structure got disturbed. So that's why we will destroy that array. And also we have changed the default position of leaves row index and the leaves column index, so that it won't get affected. So here you can see that our job is completely done. Now what we are going to do, we are going to save and let's execute to see that our design is working or not. So what we will do, we will execute this script. Okay, so let's execute the shell script. I have given the input 1, so the y-shaped structure at the first iteration, it is working completely fine. Okay, now let's clear the screen and let's give the iteration 2. So iteration 2, I can see that here 2 y-shaped structure got created, but I think the length of the second iteration, it should be 16 divided by 8 should come, right? But I think so both are 16 iteration got came, so there is a possibility that somewhere I did a mistake. So what I will do, let's go back to the shell script and let's find out the mistake here. Okay, so 2 times iteration is count is not decreasing, so somewhere in iteration number, okay, here I have written dollar and the syntax is also wrong. So let's rectify the syntax. I think now the syntax is okay. Now let's save it and try to execute the screen and execute the cell script again. So again, first of all, I will give the input as 1. So okay, y-shaped structure is working properly. Now this time I will give the input as 2. Now I can see that the first iteration is came as 16 and the second iteration is 16 by 2, 8 came. Oh, correct. Okay, now let's try 3 also. I can see that first one is 16, second one is 8, and third is 4. It is coming. So I think our y-shaped structure is working properly, but still we will test one more time. So what will be the maximum? The maximum, we know that iteration is 5. So what we will do, let's try write 5. Okay, so 5 also I can see that it is 5 iteration. It is coming 16, 8, 4, 2 and 1. So I think so the complete y-shaped structure is working properly, and the logic I have written in the cell script, it is working perfectly fine. Correct. So the next thing what we will do, first of all we will open the complete cell script. And the next thing that we are going to do is we are going to copy this cell script. We are going to copy this cell script. After that, what we will do, we will go to the HackerRank console and we are trying to execute, paste the same code and execute to see that our logic is perfectly correct or not according to the question they have asked. Okay, sample test case 0 got successful and sample test case 1 got successful. Now let's submit the code. All the test cases got successful. So the code that I have written here is completely perfect fine. So it is acceptable code in the HackerRank console. So whatever the code that I have written here, I will I will provide the GitHub link. I will already upload it in the GitHub, and GitHub link I have given in the description section. You can download the code there and you can execute and you can play around with the code so that you can understand. So what we are going to do next thing, we will try to understand what are the things that we covered. Okay, now let's see how we have solved this programming challenge. First of all, what we did, we have created a screen. Which is filled with underscore, and the size of this screen is 63 by 100. Okay, the 63 is row and 100 is column. Now inside in this screen, after creating a screen, what we did, we created a for loop, and this for loop is completely based on the number of input that we have provided. This for loop is completely based on the number of iterations of the input that we have provided, and we know the iterations will always be between 1 to 5. 5 is the max, 1 is the lowest. Now inside in this for loop, what we have did, we have created a straight height which is filled with 1. And this straight height filled with 1 was designed with the help of another for loop. Okay, now after that, what we did, we recorded the ending position of this straight height, and saved into an array. And with the help of that ending position that we recorded, through that we created 2 vertical height. Now these 2 vertical height is designed with the help of a while loop. So inside a for loop which is iterated as compared to the input we have provided, inside that we have created a straight height with the help of a for loop which is filled with 1. After that, starting position of this one recorded in an array, and through that starting position which is recorded in an array, we started from there, and we have created a 2 vertical height which is designed with the help of a while loop, and this vertical height also is filled with 1. Okay, now after that, what we did, we have saved the ending position of these two vertical height in an array, so that the next iteration is going to start again from the beginning of the for loop. And through that our Y-shaped structure will get created. And this Y-shaped structure is created inside a screen which is filled with 1, and through that again iteration is continuously going to happen until and unless it completes all the iteration and created a complete set of tree. And through that we have written all the code. Okay, and this is the basic flow chart of the code, the layout of the code, how we have written on it. And this is the end of this video, and also this is the end of this playlist. If you like this channel and if you like the videos, whatever videos we have uploaded regarding Unix and the programming challenges we solved through the Unix, I want you to keep motivate me by subscribing and press the bell icon for the regularly updates. So stay tuned and keep watching Adyan channel for the next upcoming video. Thank you.